fist flying no bounds. Podcast kings, we pound for pound. UFC thrills, stills nights get loud. Big EQP, that's how we get down.
Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the GRP. Back at it again for the 200th episode. Yeah, this is my 200th episode. What kind of crazy shit is that? But yeah, welcome back, and thanks for all the support and everything as usual. I know I always say it, but I'll continue to say it because I just want everybody to know that I appreciate the support for everything. Thank you, Infinity. Welcome in. Yeah, 200 episodes is crazy. And I mean, it's not as crazy when I've done. Thank you guys. Appreciate you. My wife and my daughter in there. Thank you guys. Love you all. Appreciate the support as usual. For hey mom, my mom's in here too. Yeah, so I mean 200 episodes is a little bit it's a little easier to get to when you're doing 2 a week, but yeah, it's still crazy to know I'm at 200. I mean, give or take, right? I mean, there's been a couple of like in between episodes and stuff like that, but as far as actual shows go, I'm definitely at 200, and any show that I've numbered, that's where I'm at. So yeah, I'm pretty happy about that. Thank you, Infinity. Yeah, it's just crazy to know that there's that many. And I wasn't sure at first if I wanted to count my episodes and actually number out the episode, but I feel like that's an easy way to like kind of know where I'm at and what I'm doing. So I just did it, and I've been trying to do it ever since. And it's, it feels good to know I'm at 200. That's so insane, man. 200 episodes. I did a whole thing for the 100th episode, and I almost forgot it was my 200th episode. I was like, shit. And Infinity joined me for the 199 episode 199. So that was pretty badass considering it led into 200, and I didn't even realize it. So yeah, I just realized it the other day, and I was like, you know what? I should probably acknowledge it at least. I mean, I'm kind of used to doing this by now, and it's cool. The big accomplishments and feats don't feel or nothing feels like that big unless I get something crazy different to happen, which the interviews are always the best. And yeah, I didn't realize it either, Infinity. I was just kind of going about it. I number every episode too, so you would think I'd anticipate it, but I didn't. So it's cool, man. It's cool. Just 200 episodes is nuts. And I know that there's podcasts out there that are like in the 2000s, which is crazy because I've listened to a lot of those damn podcasts. Like obviously Rogan. I'm not trying to compare myself, but I'm just saying people that actually put the number of their episodes next to it, you actually notice it. So that's kind of why I'm happy I did it. Other people might not notice it, but I do. And that's probably what made me do it. So anyway, we're here for the 200th episode, and that's probably all you're going to hear about it for the rest of the show. But I just thought I'd acknowledge it in the beginning, mainly because it is a milestone. Every 100 episodes is crazy to know I'm still going. And what I've accomplished from episode 100 to episode 200 is nuts too. Now I'm doing the show twice a week. So many more, watch parties, the interviews, the collaborations with Combat Sports Today. Go check them out and follow them as well. That's how I get my interviews. So I always support them. But yeah, just between 100 and 200, that's what's happened. So it's just a good way to reflect. And every 100, if I just keep doing it, then I'll just keep counting. So yeah, definitely grown, Infinity. So that yeah, I mean, I'm still a small channel, but it's okay. I like where I've gone with it and what I've done. And yeah, it's only, can keep going up from here. Am I hearing thunder? Holy shit. Yeah, it's rain. It's been raining over here for a while. So I just heard something in the background and it's thunder. But yeah, so 200th episode is cool. I appreciate everybody again for the support and always doing that. Quality over content. Yeah, for sure, Infinity. Storm's coming here too. Yeah, I think it's moving around. Man, it was dark earlier, and then it just started coming down. But hopefully we don't have any power glitches. I guess it happened earlier in the day. I wasn't here. Then I had something weird happen in my garage right before I started the show, so I'm hoping no other problems while we got the show going, and no more at all actually. But yeah, let's hope for that. And then we got Thursday night football on. So if you're here and you're watching, I appreciate you watching this. Maybe not over football, but as well as football or whatever. Uh, put a UPS in that studio. Hey, I've thought about that actually. I have thought about that. But it's like, it's one of those things where like, what do you, I guess I'd have to get a couple because I'm like, then I won't have any lights in the background. I would just have this, but I guess the front lights can carry and at least I have something. So yeah, maybe I will at some point. I keep seeing them on sale and shit. So might be worth it. Maybe get one here, one there, and then I can make it all work. That'd be cool. But anyway, now they're cheap. I can show you. Oh, okay. Sounds good. There's the thunder again. But I'm gonna be stopping for that because it sounds different, especially with the headphones on. So I mean, I can hear it through the headphones, so you know it's pretty loud. But it almost sounds like somebody's like scraping something against the wall, so it catches me off guard. Heard it through the mic. Oh shit. Okay, so yeah, it must be loud. So I guess yeah, you might be hearing some thunder in the background. It's all good. Nearly jumped out of my skin. Oh shit. Damn, it must have been loud then. So my headphones do muffle quite a bit because it didn't seem that loud to me. I just barely heard it. So okay, cool. Well, anyway, on top of the 200th episode, we got UFC Perth happening this week. Thankfully, we're back to the normal, you know, viewing of MMA and UFC for the weekend. And it's a fight night in Perth. So, and it's happening regular time here. So the main card starts at 7 p.m. A little bit later than most fight nights, I think. I think the fight nights have been starting at like 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. So it's starting at 7. So it's like a pay-per-view, a little bit later in the night. But yeah, I'm going to be, again, someone's having a birthday party. So I'm going to be watching on my phone. But that's all right. It's no big deal. It's going to be a long day on Saturday though, because I'm going to play golf too. So shit. I wasn't anticipating the gathering on Saturday night. So Bert, that foldable out. Oh yeah. Get that foldable out. Yeah, that's what you're saying. Yeah, I always have it. And now I have this nifty little little kickstand on there because after the fight night thing that happened at the last event, I was like, I should probably get something to put on my phone, and that's the easiest route. So anyway, I shouldn't have put the football game on because it's distracted me. I just keep looking up. But yeah, so we're here ready for UFC Perth. I think there's some BKFC going on this weekend as well. Not sure about anything else, but yeah, we had Dana White's Contender Series on Tuesday. Some damn good fights there, so we're definitely gonna have to recap that. And then we have a little bit of Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis news. Got to cover that just because it's some updates on what's gonna happen with that if that fight happens. You know what I mean? Because yeah, I don't know. We'll talk about it, but yeah. Before I get to that, let's hit up some Noctane because I need it right about now. As usual, it was kind of a long day. Face off with something else. Yeah, I know. That's exactly why I wanted to talk about it. Plus the additional information we got about it. So Noctane smelling salts, got the red cap, of course, the most potent. Getting ready to hit that up. I got to turn off the fan so it doesn't blow the goodness out of here. And I get a nice big whiff. Oh, damn, that cap is on there. I got to clean that up because so this stuff gets a little caked on, you know, after a bunch of uses and a little bit of spillage when you're shaking it around and reacting. Oh, fuck. That's going to be a good hit because I smelled it by just taking the cap off. And it was wearing out, but you can actually replenish the, you know, the little reaction in there if you just add a little bit of water. Not a lot, just a tad. So that's a good little pro tip there. Good way to prolong this completely going out. So let's take a whiff here. Oh, there it is. Oh, it's like at that spot where it doesn't hit right away. Like I pulled the cap off and I think that was the initial, and then you really got to get your nose in there. But damn, once I did, whoo, my dog sniffed it when it fell on the floor. He hasn't been back in the studio since. Oh shit. Poor dog. Well, we know how dogs feel. Damn. Yeah, you know dogs have those super senses in the nose. So, oof, man, I could just imagine how much that affected him. But told his ass.
Damn, son.
That's crazy, man. Anyway, Noctane, appreciate the sponsorship. There's a link in the description below. Make sure you scan that QR code too if you want, or just hit that link in the description and get yourself a bottle, or go learn about the product. It's a good product. It's used for a lot of different things. Powerlifters use it for a quick adrenaline rush. I use it to keep myself awake during long drives, and I've been going out of town lately a lot. So yeah, I went earlier this week. I went last week. There's just been a lot of driving. So yeah, it helps. And it definitely helped on this trip because I haven't been sleeping well and I was tired. So this helped a lot. And I got one hit one time and I was like, motherfucker, it about took me out. So it's a good one. It definitely helps and it definitely works. So definitely get yourself a bottle. Go check it out. Thank you again, Noctane, for the sponsorship. Appreciate that. And that's about it. Let me take a big sip here because I've been waiting for this drink all day. And let's get going with this, with the news from this week before we hit up UFC Perth. We'll start off with that Jake versus Tank. So we had some extra fights announced. These are the only ones I really know. Obviously, Jake versus Tank is the main event. But Alicia Baumgardner is fighting Layla Boudoin, I think, for the Unified Super Featherweight World Championship. And Alicia Baumgardner, if you've followed any women's boxing, has been, you know, making some moves and doing her thing. And that's a great fight there. Didn't really recognize the couple other fights that they announced, but we'll see. I'm assuming that that they're gonna, you know, I'm assuming that they're going to move, you know, push this fight through, because that's usually what Jake does, because he has all of this support under him as far as making the card notable and watch worthy, other than just the main event, even though a lot of people only watch for the main event. So, you know, but at least there's some reputable fights underneath it, and bringing up some of these names like Alicia Baumgardner's good, and you know, the women's boxing that he's always promoting. They did an all women's card at one point. So I feel like that's good. Those are good moves for Jake to be making. So he'll always try his best to make this fight go through, which is why a lot of people are downplaying that it's even going to happen. But if you look at that picture in the middle, they had the face off. They had a press conference. As you can see, it's insane because Tank Davis looks like a child compared to Jake Paul because of the weight difference. And that's obviously the discrepancy here that people are having an issue with. Just like with Mike Tyson being 60 some years old, 58 years old, whatever fucking age he was, and then having Jake Paul being his age. 30-year difference or some shit. It's crazy. And now he has his tiny opponent that he's going against, and he makes all these jokes in the press conference about how, oh, how am I training for this? Well, I'm punching down quite a bit. I'm sparring 8-year-olds, and I mean, it's funny, you know, he's got jokes, but come the fuck on, man. Like, I mean, this is why people don't like it, but it is what it is. Tank Davis has some power. I just don't know how much that's going to affect a 220-pound guy. Sure, he's going to be fighting at 195 pounds. That's what one of the official rules was announced, is that it's 195 pounds max weight. They're going 10 rounds. They are Big Boars MMA. What's going on? Welcome back. Appreciate you for jumping in. Just getting this Jake Paul Tank Davis stuff out of the way before we hit the real news. But yeah, they're using 12-ounce gloves, and they're supposedly going to be USADA testing, but we will see. We will see. And I just thought this picture was hilarious. The fact that Jake Paul takes his shirt off for one, and Tank Davis is just like in a fucking hoodie and a hat, completely covered, and Jake Paul looks like he's gonna do some illegal shit with the way he's facing off with this. I'm assuming Infinity was talking about the power of Tank Davis that I was talking about when he said had past tense. But, you know, Tank is still, he's still a badass boxer. It's just, yeah, I don't know what this is going to bring. So anyway, we got that little bit of news. So I figured, and you know, they also mentioned there's going to be 3 judges with a decision at the end, one way or the other, you know. So if it goes to a decision, they're gonna have or it says with a winner at the end, which means it's not gonna be just considered a blah whatever, the fight's over, done, nobody got knocked out. They're gonna have judges even though it's an exhibition. So those are just some of the news and notes that came out on top of the press conference bullshit and then the extra fights that are happening. It does of note for the women's fight saying fighting men's rules 12 3-minute rounds, which is big because the women usually fight 10 2-minute rounds, I think, something like that. So I think Amanda Serrano was one of the first ones to fight at 12-3, but I mean, that's cool for the women because, you know, then it just kind of brings them up to the level of the men, you know, a step closer to women's boxing being taken a little more seriously, and I appreciate that. So yeah, that's about it. I mean, obviously we know it's happening on Netflix Friday, November 14th. It got moved from Atlanta, Georgia, because they wouldn't sanction it, to Miami, Florida, because Georgia had an issue with the weight discrepancies, obviously. But yeah, so we have it happening in Miami, Florida now, which Florida's loosey-goosey about their shit. And we know that because Florida's fucking Florida. Nothing else to be said there. So we'll keep up with this just to see how it continues on, what kind of news comes out from it, what kind of drama. But, you know, we have a little bit of time. So as of right now, they're just doing a press tour kind of thing, and we'll see what kind of craziness comes out of it. But it doesn't look like Gervonta Davis is really interested in much except for making that money. He did have a issue with the fact that they said 195 pounds max weight. He said, no, we're fighting at 190, and they're like, no, it's contracted at 195, and he goes, no, we're fighting at 190. And, you know, in boxing, it's like these few pounds make a difference. I know in MMA it kind of does too, but it's like, man, what the fuck is the point? Who gives a shit about the 5 pounds when it's already a stupid amount of difference? Like, I don't know what you're bitching about. You're just gonna make a bunch of money. You shouldn't be fighting this fight anyway, so just shut the fuck up and do it if you're gonna do it. That's the way I feel about it. You know, Jake Paul's gonna make a spectacle out of everything. So again, I give him credit for what he's doing with the undercard and having those fighters in there and getting them paid. That's what I like about all of this. But other than that, the rest of it's just kind of some bullshit. So let's move on to the real shit, and let's get to some Dana White's Contender Series that happened on Tuesday. Usyk versus Jake Paul in MMA. Oh shit, Boars, I forgot about that. You're right, because Jake Paul released his like 5-year fucking plan, and that included beating Usyk, but he meant in boxing. But Usyk said, how about he said, I'm gonna take care of what I gotta take care of in boxing and be done, but I'll meet you in the cage for 5 rounds in MMA. And it's like, ooh, that would be sick. I would love to see Usyk in MMA, honestly. And Jake Paul was supposed to fucking fight in MMA anyway, because he signed with the PFL for the super fight division or whatever, and that hasn't happened. We haven't even seen him do shit for the PFL since. So it's like, I don't know if that's gonna happen, but that would be sick if it did. Because yeah, I mean, I don't know how good of a fight it would turn out to be, but I would love to see both of them in MMA for sure. And maybe if Jake Paul feels a little froggy after that, he can take on some of these MMA fighters that he's decided to just knock out in boxing. But who knows? Anyway, Dana White's Contender Series, Tuesday nights, every Tuesday. Week 7 just passed. Contender Series has been on fire. Yes, exactly. Boars hit it on the head. Contender Series has been fire lately. Since that first week, man, it's just been fucking rolling. Last week was a little bit down from the quality of the weeks before, but it turned right the fuck back up this week, and we got 6 contract winners out of here. Last week we got 5, but it was 2 from the, was it last week or the week before? I think last week we only got 4. The week before we got 5, but 2 of them were from the same fight. The women have been on fire in the Contender Series. That's for damn sure. They have been showing up and showing out and proving that they deserve to be in the UFC. And for the second week of, you know, the second women's fight all season. We got both women in this fight getting contracts coming out, whether they won or lost. So we'll touch on that here in a minute and what happened there. But let's get started with the first fight of the night. Let me actually get to my references here so I make sure I don't fuck up any of these names, which I probably will anyway, but that's all right. So we got Rafael Tobias versus Jair de Oliveira was the first fight of the night in the men's light heavyweight division. And Tobias, oh shit, he made this one, you know, an early finish in the first round. 3 minutes and 46 seconds into the first round, he got the win. And by rear naked choke, when it actually looked like he was going to get a TKO win, because I think he knocked down Oliveira once or twice earlier on, and he was just putting together some good combinations, landing some good strikes. But he pressed Oliveira up against the cage and then dropped down for a single leg, took him down, turned him, you know, got around his back, and was able to drop that choke in there. And he gets the rear naked choke for submission in the first round, 3 minutes and 46 seconds in. That brings him up to 14-1 in his career. And I believe this was 1, 2, 3, 4. This was his 6th win in a row, all by finish. Oh, I'm sorry, all but one by finish. Couple submissions, 3 submissions, 2 TKOs, and 1 decision. The Brazilian's been turning up for the Contender. Yeah, we're getting some good Brazilian fighters coming out of the Contender series, which is badass. Brazilians and women, I mean, fuck, it's been good, man. So Tobias coming out of the TKO is what he last fought in. TKO Palmasnet. I'm not exactly sure what it is, but anyway, that was your first fight of the night. Next up, we had Javier Reyes versus Justice Torres. And this was a fun fight too. 2 minutes and 32 seconds into the first round, Javier Reyes gets the win, and he gets a TKO by punches and knees. Yeah, I mean, this one just started off good. They were throwing right away. I mean, these fights they just start going at it right away. They understand the fucking plan when it comes to the Contender series, and that's why it's been so good lately, because these guys and girls come out fighting. Reyes has a crazy record. Yeah, see, I was listening to that and I wanted to see, he's 22-5 overall. I wanted to check and see, he's coming from LFA, where he was coming off a win by sub. And he has a couple losses in there, but man, he was on a big win streak for a while. Between 2019 and 2023, 2024, he hadn't lost. And then in 2024, he lost one, lost one more in early 2025, and then won one before he came into the Contender series. So yeah, he's somebody to look out for sure. He was 2-2 in LFA. Justice Torres down to 12-4. He was coming off of a 2-fight win streak over in Fury FC, where he had 2 TKO wins in the second round on both, and then gets finished here. I think if I remember right, they said Reyes. No, I guess I might be mixing that one up. But anyway, yeah, I mean, this was a fun fight to watch for sure, and Reyes is definitely a fun fighter. Torres put up a good fight too. It's just he got overwhelmed quickly by Reyes and took the L on that one. So next up, we got that women's fight I was talking about, and this was a bloody one. As you can see by these pictures, it went to decision, and it was a split decision win for Gisela Chavez, but her opponent, Sofia Montenegro, I mean, Dana White said he thought she won. So with the split decision win, obviously we know the judges were split on that, so it was pretty close. I think the second round was 100% all Montenegro. The first round was Chavez for sure. Another women's fight where a big underdog won. Yeah, actually, let me see. Yeah, you're right. She was it was a slight underdog. It says plus 180 here for Tapology, but still underdog. She was my prediction. Oh, okay. I thought you went for Montenegro. Oh, you were just saying she was. Oh, never mind. I remember what you said. Anyway, yeah, Chavez up to 6-0. She gets a split decision win where, you know, like I said, it was a close fight. It was a bloody one. She was hot. Yeah, I mean, there was a clash of heads in the first round, which busted open Montenegro, and then Chavez, I'm not exactly sure where she got the cut, but they were bleeding after the first round, so it just continued on. You could see the elbow getting caught right there on that first picture, and then the big punch, the big left hand in the second picture. Montenegro was bloodied up. The third round was a little back and forth. I feel like in the middle, Montenegro had control, quite a bit of control actually. And what was weird, the ref mentioned, let's get some action going, and Montenegro stood up, like legit just got up, as if he said, you know, as if he touched them and told them to get up, and he didn't. The ref didn't touch him. He just said, let's get the action going, and she took it as time to get up, so she just stood up, and she didn't attack or nothing. She just stood up and allowed Chavez to get up, and then Chavez just started raining down some fucking strikes and catching her, and she ended strong in the third round because of that, which was a big mistake on Montenegro's part. I feel like that was something that could have lost her that fight, but in the end, she still had a lot of control during that third round, so she still kind of could have won that fight. So being a split decision, it was super close, and but Chavez did a damn good job with her striking. She was accurate, as you could tell. She was, you know, it was damaging punches, so she was doing well, and that's probably why the judges went with her, because she's finished strong and she had so much damage showing on Montenegro, but they both did, honestly. So it was a fun fight. It was a really good and entertaining fight, and I was into it the whole time because that's how good it was. And you're not, you know, you don't hear that a lot about the women's fights, so this was a damn good one, and I'm happy to see that they both got the contract, and they were both, you know, able to get into the UFC, which I failed to mention. Obviously, the winners of the last two fights, Javier Reyes and Rafael Tobias, both got contracts in their fights, and then both the women get the contract here. They definitely did earn an infinity for sure. Let's get to the co-main of this night of fights, and that was Murtzali Magomedov versus Brian Zurcher. This was in the men's featherweight division, and they were both undefeated coming in at 9-0. Magomedov gets the win by TKO in the first round, 1:37 seconds in, and he just kind of overwhelmed Zurcher. Zurcher got a couple good strikes in there, but for the most part, it was all Magomedov, and he was able to catch him with it was kind of like a ghost punch. It seemed like from the angle on that they showed during the broadcast, even Lorisenko said, I didn't even see that punch, and it was a quick, short jab that he landed on Zurcher, and then Zurcher just kind of stumbled backwards and fell to the ground, and then as he was going down, Magomedov caught him with a uppercut that dropped him too. Zurcher didn't train enough at Dagestan, and supposedly the opponent also trained with Islam. Yeah, so I was confused on that one, because when I was watching this, I won't say how I was watching this honestly, but I was doing something. I was whatever, I was driving and watching, okay? So I was listening to the broadcast. I had to catch up, man. It was a crazy ass week, so it was tough to fucking find the time to watch. So listen, I do what I gotta do, okay? But anyway, I kept hearing about one of them, and I thought obviously you're thinking Magomedov, right, is gonna be the one. Obviously you think Magomedov's gonna be the one that was training with Habib and shit, but it sounded like Zurcher was, because I heard him saying he was the first Mexican that Khabib led into the camp or some shit. I don't even know, man. I was hard to follow because, like I said, I was doing other shit. So, but the fights were good. I did pay attention to the fights, and they were damn good. And this was a fun one. One round. All the finishes happened in the first round, which is badass. 4 out of the 5 fights, first round finishes. That's good shit. And then the only one that went to decision was a close one by split. that was bloody and just fucking action all the way through. You can't get any better than that. So 5 fights in the Contender Series, and they were all damn good. And you get an extra contract winner out of it. It's a damn good night of fights. So yeah, Zurcher needs a little bit more. I don't think he ever fought anybody like Magomedov, so he moves down to 9-1. Magomedov moves up to 10-0, and he gets the contract into the UFC. So that was good. It was a fun fight. Let's move on to the last fight of the night on the main event for the main card, for the only card, honestly. Obviously, Montas fuck, man, I don't know. Condra, I'm gonna call him. That's a fucking hard name to say. Anyway, he fought Danny Barbier, and that was in the men's middleweight division, and he finished 1 minute and 6 seconds into the first round. And yeah, it was a good fight for the minute that it lasted, because Montas just fucking overwhelmed the shit out of Barbier, and it was a good finish, man. And the fact that he took him out like he did, he just looked like a beast in there for the minute that he fought. Overwhelmed Barbier and got the TKO win. Overhand right, ground and pound, and he finished him there. As you can see, the ground and pound happening in that first picture, and then the walk away of Montas. And yeah, Dana White was super impressed with this one. Didn't have much to say after, except for, man, you're fucking impressive. Welcome to the UFC. And that's good shit. You don't need a lot of words when the boss man reacts that way. So some good fights and some good up and coming fighters coming out of the Contender Series as usual. And he actually talked about that on the broadcast with Laura Sanko, saying that in the War Room they have specified colors for fighters that come from the Contender Series, the Ultimate Fighter, and Dana White looking for a fight. And the one for the Contender Series are color coded in blue, and he said a lot of that board is made up of fighters that have blue next to their name, because that's how many fighters come from the Contender Series. So if you haven't been watching, make sure you do. On Tuesday nights, you got Dana White's Contender Series. You can watch it live on ESPN Plus for the moment. I don't know where the fuck it's going after the new year when everything moves to Paramount Plus. I don't know if they're taking that over there too, or if it's going somewhere else. Either way, you should be able to watch it. But if you don't watch it on Tuesdays, it's worth going back to watch if you like watching fights, because again, they have been fucking bangers. It's been fire for sure. So 100% like worth going back to watch if you didn't catch it on Tuesday. Of course, you can see all the highlights on social media and other places, but watching the full fight gets you the full effect of what you can expect from these fighters. And sometimes you never know what you're going to get out of there. We've had a few champions, a bunch of contenders, and a lot of ranked fighters coming out of the Contender Series. So it's living up to its name, and it continues to roll on in a good way. So it's a damn good thing for the UFC and for us as the fans. So yeah, catch that, enjoy it. Let's move on to this UFC Perth card. Get started on that. Welcome back to the UFC Fight Night week. We had a week off, and you know, I was going crazy because I'm just like, damn, I'm looking for content. There wasn't a whole lot going on in the fight world either, so that made it tough. But thanks to Infinity, who's in the chat right now, for jumping in with me on Sunday and helping me talk about that White House card, which was interesting and entertaining. I thought so, at least. It's fun to have Infinity back on too. So it's been a while since I've had a guest on the regular show. You know, I always have people on for the watch parties, and but that's a little bit different. And then interviews are a whole different thing too. So the regular show, it's been just me, and having somebody back in here, or not in here, but with me on the show, was cool. And Infinity, as long as he can still make it, should be in here in studio with me for the next watch party, for the next pay-per-view, which is coming up here in just over a week. October 4th, we'll be we'll be in here for the watch party podcast happening live. And yeah, make sure you catch that, because Infinity will be in here with me, and hopefully Clark will be here as usual, and possibly one other person, not sure yet. But yeah, watch party podcast. Make sure you're subscribed and you hit that notification bell so you know when I go live. It's always the best way to know. And if you're in here and haven't given the video a like yet, make sure you do that. It takes a quick second. Close out that chat if it's covering, hit that like button, and come back to the chat and chat it up with me. But make sure you like that video no matter what, and subscribe if you haven't already. I'd appreciate that. So we got Carlos Ulberg versus Dominic Reyes in the light heavyweight division, happening for the main event of UFC Perth. Finally making it back to Perth, and we usually get some pretty fun fight cards here. There's some good fighters from the area fighting in the main card, so that should be good. And then of course we got Carlos Ulberg fighting Dominic Reyes. That should be a fun fight. It's going to be a tough one. Ulberg's been on a roll with a bunch of wins, putting together some really good wins on some pretty good names. And then Reyes has just made a comeback and is a tough guy. I'm not sure how I feel about Ulberg being able to beat him, but I think it's going to be a good matchup. We'll get deeper into that once it comes around. But as you know, or if you didn't know, I like to go over all of the fights and cover the prelims from the bottom to the top. So let's take a look at those prelims now for UFC Perth. And yeah, it's happening. It is at regular time for the most part, 7 o'clock p.m. So you don't have to worry about it being super early or super late. It'll be on normal time. 7 p.m. for me, by the way. It's Arizona time. You can take a look for yourself in your area. If you Google it, it's easy enough. Anyway, let's get started with this prelim card. Starting in the bottom right picture over there, we got Luma Lukbunmi versus Alexia Thainara, happening in the women's strawweight division. 10-3 for Lukbunmi, and Thainara's 12-1. So this should be a good fight coming in for the first one of the night, and let's hope that they follow in the footsteps of the Contender women that have been putting on shows in the Contender series lately. And let's get this one started with some fireworks and hopefully get a good fight with some finishes. But we got Lukbunmi. She is on a roll right now. She's on a 4-fight win streak with wins over Denise Gomes, Elise Reed, Bruna Brazil, and Estela Nunez. Only one of those was a finish. That was a submission against Elise Reed, but she is on that 4-fight win streak coming in against Alexa Thainara, who is 12-1 overall, and she's on a pretty good win streak of her own. Let's see, in the UFC, she is 1-0. So she's only had one fight in the UFC, and that was a win over Molly McCann. And she got a performance of the night bonus on that one with the rear naked choke in the first round. So she's looking to, put on another show here in the UFC for her second fight and go 2-0 in the UFC. But Lukbunmi is a tough opponent, so that should be a fun fight to get it started. Moving on, we have Brando Pericek versus Elisha Ellison. Man, even the US name is rough. But this is in the heavyweight division. Pericek is 4-1. Ellison is 5-1. Pericek is making his UFC debut. He's on a 2-fight win streak outside of the UFC, and that's coming off of 2 first-round finishes, one being 17 seconds by TKO, the next being a minute and 8 seconds. So he definitely puts on some fun fights, and we'll see if he can carry that over into the UFC. Also making his UFC debut, Elisha Ellison. Work for me. Oh, stupid ad popping up. Come on. Elisha Ellison is on a 3-fight win streak outside of the UFC coming in. They apparently this fight was supposed to be on the Contender series, and instead they got brought in to fight directly on this fight card. So that's pretty badass. Just superseding the Contender series, so they better put on a show as if they were in the Contender series, fighting for that UFC contract, even though they already have it. Let's hope that doesn't phase them at all, and they put on a good show here. 3-fight win streak, all in the first round for Ellison. All TKO wins as well, with the shortest one being 47 seconds. So don't blink on this one, because if their record says anything about them, they finish fights fast. So hopefully this is a great second fight of the night. Moving on to another women's fight in the women's bantamweight division, we got Michelle Montague versus Luana Carolina. Montague is making her UFC debut, 6-0 overall. So basically on a 6-fight win streak, because she is 6-0. And then we got Luana Carolina, 11-4 overall, 6-3 in the UFC. She's on a 3-fight win streak with 2 decisions and 1 TKO win, which was a punches from crucifix finish in the 3rd round against Julia Stolyarenko. Her last win was against Lucy Pudilova, and then she also has a win over Ivana Petrovic. So she's on a 3-fight win streak, looking to extend that to 4 with a win over the debuting Michelle Montague. And she's looking to make a splash with her UFC debut and getting a win in her first fight. So moving on to the local guy here, Colby Thickness versus Josias Musasa. And everything I kept hearing, I don't remember Musasa's last fight, but I keep hearing about the fact that it wasn't great. He's 8-1 overall. He got the win. Oh no, he lost in his only fight in the UFC against Carlos Vera. Lost in the first round by rear naked choke. So now I understand a little more. I don't fully remember that. It happened in March of this year. So he is coming in trying to get his first win in the UFC, but Colby Thickness is a prodigy of the current champ Alexander Volkanovski, but he's also 0-1 in the UFC as well. Had a lot of hype around him coming in. He lost a unanimous decision to Alexandre Topuria, which, I mean, that is another brother of a champ, so I guess you can't blame him too much there. It was a unanimous decision as well, so we'll see if Thickness can get his first win, or we'll see which one of these guys will get their first win in the UFC, being 0-1 for both of them in the UFC. Moving on, we got Jamie Malarkey versus Rolando Bedoya. Malarkey's 17-8 overall. Bedoya's 14-4. This is happening in the men's lightweight division. And Malarkey is 5-6 in the UFC, coming off a 2-fight losing streak, but losses to Nasrat Haqparast and Mauricio Rufy. So, fuck, man, those are tough opponents. Both first round finishes against him. He hasn't won since 2023 against John McDessie, which he got a unanimous decision there. He's 1-3 in his last 4 fights, which is fucking tough. So obviously with a record like 5-6 too, that's always tough. Bedoya is 14-4 overall, 0-3 in the UFC as well. Not great records here. He's on a 3-fight losing streak, obviously. Chaos Williams, Keenan Song, and Jai Herbert, all unanimous decision wins except for the one against Williams, which was a split decision. But his last 2 have been unanimous decision losses, so he might be looking to try to finish this fight, because if he goes to decision, he tends to lose in the recent past. So maybe he learns his lesson, puts the pressure on a little bit here, and tries to finish it, because it seems like that's his best bet in winning. But both those guys coming off of losing streaks, so we'll see which one is able to get the win. Next up, we have Jonathan McAuliffe versus Oban Elliott. Oban Elliott's a fun fighter to watch for sure. He's 12-3 overall, 3-1 in the UFC, and he's coming off a loss though to Seok Hyun Ko. That was a unanimous decision loss back in June. Before that though, he was on a 3-fight win streak with his first 3 fights in the UFC. Wins over Vel Woodburn, Preston Parsons, and Basil Hafez. Hafez was a TKO. The other 2 were decisions. So he's looking to get back in the win column. And Jonathan McAuliffe, I'm not sure. But he's 1-0 in the UFC with a win over Kevin Giuseppe by unanimous decision. Before that, he had 2 wins in a row outside of the UFC. One being in the Contender series, which was a submission win in the first round. And then Matt Vale was a submission win in the first round as well. So we'll see if he can get back to his winning ways in the first round. But did I say 0-1? No, he's 1-0 in the UFC. So he's looking to extend that to 2 wins, and Oban Elliott's trying to get back in that win column. So hopefully they fight it out, and it's a good one. Next up, Andre Petrovsky versus Cam Rouston, happening in the men's middleweight division. We got Petrovsky 13-4 overall. He is 8-3 in the UFC, coming off a loss to Edmund Shabazian by a unanimous decision. He's kind of had a win-loss thing going on in his past few fights. Oh, that other loss is a grappling. So he only has 1 loss. He's 4-1 in his last 5. I'm sorry, 3-1. I'm looking at all these extra things. That's a lot of grappling going on for Petrovsky in there. But yeah, he's got wins over Josh Freem, Dylan Budka, and Rodolfo Vieira. So he's looking to get back in that win column with a win over Cam Rouston, who is 12-3 overall, and 1-1 in the Contender Series, which is crazy. But yeah, he fought in the Contender Series in 2024 where he lost, and he came back in August of this year. Yeah, and got the win in the first round by TKO. So that got him the contract, and now he's fighting Andre Petrovsky for his first official fight in the UFC. In between those Contender Series wins, he had 3 wins in a row, one of which he won a belt in SFL, and then he had 2 other fights. All of those were finishes except for one by decision. Couple submission wins in there. So we'll see what he has for Andre Petrovsky in the men's middleweight division. And that brings us to the featured prelim, the last fight on the prelim card. And we got Navajo Sterling undefeated at 7-0 versus Rodolfo Belloto. Belloto's an idiot. I don't know what else to say about this guy. He was not impressive at all. He's kind of fucking just a jackass. I don't know. That's the only, I look at him and I'm like annoyed by him. I don't remember exactly what happened. I'll try to remember here in just a second. But Navajo Sterling looks good. He's 2-0 in the UFC and 7-0 overall. He's got those 2 wins over Ivan Erslan, which is the guy in the co-main event tonight, or on this night, and then he beat Tugo Tukos as well. Both unanimous decision wins, but Navajo Sterling seems like he can do some damage for sure. He's a bigger dude at 205. He's pretty tall, and he moves around really well too. So Rodolfo Belloto is 1-0 in the UFC, and that one was win over Ihor Pretoria. He got a majority decision draw against Jimmy Crute, and then the no contest against Paul Craig, which that's what it was. That no contest with Paul Craig, he was like just being a jackass and fucking, I don't even remember exactly what happened. I think he got kicked in the nuts or something, but it was kind of like that Cedric Dumas bullshit that happened where he just was like rolling around like a weirdo. AZ trying to make a comeback, 2013, 5 minutes left. Oh yeah, and I picked Seattle to win that fight in my picks, so we'll see what happens there. I have it on, I just haven't been looking as much. But yeah, Seattle was kind of doing some work there, and I guess Arizona's trying to come back, so we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, Navajo Sterling versus Rodolfo Belloto for your featured prelim in the light heavyweight division. I'm assuming Sterling's going to come out of this with the win. With the way that Navajo Sterling fights, I think Belloto is going to probably fucking fake an injury again, or or roll around and start crying about something. I just don't like the way the guy fights. He's a fucking, I don't know. He annoys me. So we'll see what happens with that for your prelims. That brings us into the main card, starting off with Tom Nolan versus Charlie Campbell. And as I was going through prepping for this, and also when I did my run-through test, I realized that there's 3 guys on this card that look fucking hella similar to each other, and that's these 2, along with I think Jake Matthews. They all have similar tattoos. They all have similar hair. They're all fucking goofy-looking white dudes. No offense to any goofy-looking white dudes out there, but I'm just stating the fact that it's just, I don't know, man. I thought I put multiple pictures on that were the same, and it just was just laughing because I'm like, no, this is not the same dude. They just look similar. Look at the tattoos on these fools. I mean, they look pretty fucking similar. So that's why I was kind of tripping out on that one. I got Infinity laughing, so that's cool. Hey, Infinity, while I got you here, does that music sound too loud? It sounds a little louder in my ears than it did before, but if it's coming across okay, then I'm good with it. But yeah, so we got Tom Nolan versus Charlie Campbell. Nolan is 9-1 overall, 3-1 in the UFC, 5-1 by KO TKO. He doesn't have any wins or losses by submission, and he's 4-0 by decision. So he's only been finished once on the feet, and has never done anything in submission. So that's crazy. The track's a little louder. Yeah, that's what I thought. I'm gonna turn it down here in this one. There we go. That feels a little better. I wasn't sure if I was tripping, but some of these songs, man, some of these background music, I'm trying to make newer ones, because I've been making my own using Suno, but this one isn't one of the ones I've made. This is one of the stock ones from YouTube. I can only use certain music. I really wish I didn't have to, because I really wish I could jam out to other shit, but yeah, it's tough. Even if I just had instrumentals of songs that we all know, that would be badass, but I can't. Copyright bullshit. Anyway, Charlie Campbell is not won or lost by submission either, so it's looking like we're either getting a decision or a TKO KO win by both these guys, because Campbell's record is similar as well. 6-1 by KO TKO, 3-1 by decision. He's on a 2-fight win streak. Nolan's on a 3-fight win streak. Campbell's undefeated in the UFC, 2-0. Let's take a look at what these guys have going on with their records here. Tom Nolan is on a 3-fight win streak. Yeah, because like I said, duh. But 2 of those are by breakdown, just a dab or 2. Then you'll be good. Okay. Yeah, so there we go. That should be good. Yeah, so he's got 2 decision wins in his last 2 fights versus Vyacheslav Borshev and then Alex Reyes, and then he had a TKO win over Victor Martinez. All right, cool. I think I got it. And his one loss in the UFC was against Nicholas Moda, and that was a first-round TKO loss to him. So, yeah, I mean, we got a good mix of everything going on here, except for submissions, obviously. But Charlie Campbell's a bit of the same. 2-fight win streak. More than that if you count outside of the UFC. No, he's just got some grappling matches. Damn it. He lost in the Contender series, though, but he still made it to the UFC. He lost to Chris Duncan, which is a tough fight back in 2022. And then in 2023, makes it into the UFC, beats Alex Reyes in the first round by TKO, gets a performance of the night bonus there. And then in his last fight, he beat Trevor Peete by unanimous decision. So I feel like this should be a good fight to start off the night in the main card. And the men's lightweight division, Tom Nolan versus Charlie Campbell. Moving on, we got the big boys in the heavyweight division. Justin Tafa versus Louis Sutherland. Louis Sutherland making his UFC debut, 10-3 overall, 8-0 by KO TKO, which is impressive. No submission wins or losses, just like Tafa, and he's 2-3 by decision. Both these guys have losing records by decision, which is interesting. But he's on a 4-fight win streak. Tafa's on a 2-fight win streak, 7-2 by KO TKO. It's interesting though that Sutherland has not been finished at all. His only loss by decision. So Tafa's 4-5 in the UFC, losing record there, but he's a fun fighter to watch. 7-5 overall. They're the same age, and we'll see what Sutherland has coming into the UFC. He's on that, I think I said 3-fight win streak. Yeah, and 4-fight win streak. Good. And that is 2 by decision, 2 by TKO. His last fight was a first-round finish by TKO, where he won a belt in Levels Fight League. So he's coming in as a champion, making his UFC debut against Justin Tafa, who's, a dangerous guy for sure. But the Tafa brothers they both are exciting to watch fight, because whether they win or lose, it's an exciting fight, and they'll go out on their shield, or they'll knock somebody out quickly, and that's kind of how they both fight. Junior Tafa was supposed to be in the co-main event, I think, of this fight card, but he got injured, so he had to sit out. But yeah, Justin Tafa lost his last 2 fights against. I think I messed that up, but that's right. He lost his last 2 fights against Carl Williams and Telson Teixeira. Teixeira beat him in 35 seconds of the first round back in February of this year, and then he lost to Carl Williams by decision. So his last win was in 2023, where he got a performance of the night bonus against Austin Lane, which, I mean, Austin Lane is trash anyway. So, but Tafa's a fun fighter to watch, and should be a good one. So, next up we have Jake Matthews versus Neil Magny. The vet Neil Magny, man, this guy, he's definitely a gatekeeper, and I mean, being as old as he is, it seems like for the most part, he tends to lose the fights he really needs to win, and he tends to win the fights that don't really matter. And I don't want to say that a fight against Jake Matthews doesn't really matter, but I don't really consider Jake Matthews in the upper echelon of the division right now, and that's kind of who Neil Magny has trouble with most of the time. I mean, Jake Matthews is maybe on his way there. I mean, he's 15-7 in the UFC. Is that right? 22-7 overall. That is right. Damn, I did not realize he had that many fights. And I don't want to say that he's, that he's obviously 7 fights, whatever. He's got 15 wins, but I think they're just so mixed up that he hasn't really been able to put together a ton. He had a 3-fight win streak back in 2019 and 2020, and now he's on a 3-fight win streak again. So those are his longest win streaks. He beat Chidi Njokuani, Francisco Prado, and Phil Rowe, 2 decisions and a sub. So, I mean, 5-1 by KO TKOs, 9-3 by sub, and 8-3 by decision for Jake Matthews. And then you got Neil Magny, who has a ton of fucking fights, obviously, in the UFC, 23-12, 30-13 overall. Damn, Seattle just missed that field goal too. But yeah, and then Magny, I mean, everything's mixed up. 9-4 by KO TKO, 4-6 by sub, and 17-3 by decision. Jake Matthews has more wins by submission than losses, and Neil Magny has less wins than losses in the submission category. So that might be something to look at, but Jake Matthews is gonna have to deal with Neil Magny and his fight IQ and what he's been able to do in the UFC. Like I said, he always gets to that point where he can be, in contention, and then he loses the biggest fights that he needs to win. So that's kind of why I consider him a gatekeeper at this point, because then all the guys trying to make on their way up with good win streaks wind up going up against him and losing. So I guess that's kind of what we got to look out for here. We'll see if Jake Matthews can kind of break that streak and get the win over Neil Magny, who is on a win streak of, or was it just one win? Yeah, just one win against Elizeu Zaleski. He got a TKO win in the second round. Before that, he was on a 2-fight losing streak. But again, to bigger names, Michael Morales and Carlos Prates. So another loss of his was Ian Machado Gary, Gilbert Burns, and then wins were Mike Malott, Elizeu Zaleski, and Phil Rowe. So like I said, loses the fights he needs to win, wins the fights that don't really matter. So that's kind of what you get from Neil Magny. I guess we'll see what he does against Jake Matthews in this fight in the men's welterweight division. Moving on to the featherweight division. Oh shit, I just completely messed that up. There we go. We got Jack Jenkins versus Ramon Tavares happening in the featherweight division. 13-4 for Jenkins, 3-2 in the UFC, 6-1 by KO TKO, 3-3 by sub, 4-0 by decision. Coming off a loss, as well as Tavares coming off a loss. He's 1-1 in the UFC, 10-3 overall. 5-2 by KO TKO, 3-0 by sub, and 2-1 by decision. So we got Jenkins being undefeated in the decision column, and Tavares being undefeated in the submission column. Neither one of them have a ton of wins in there for those, but they've both been finished on their feet, and they're both coming off a loss. So Jack Jenkins, though, being in his he's from that area, so he should be coming out there. He's a fun fighter to watch for sure. So we got the crazy hair with the mullet style hair coming in to fight Tavares with also some crazy hair. It's like, what's going on with these guys and their fucking hair? But Jenkins is coming off a loss to Gabriel Santos by submission in the 3rd round back in February of this year. He's been on a win-loss streak. He won 2 in a row when he got into the UFC and then lost to Chepe Mariscal, beat Herbert Burns, and now lost to Gabriel Santos. So we'll see how he fares against Ramon Tavares, who's coming off a loss to Davey Grant, but beat Sarahi Sidey back in January of 2024. He hasn't fought this year at all, so this will be his first fight this year, and he'll be looking to get back in that win column, trying to beat the hometown Jack Jenkins, fighting in the men's featherweight division. So next up, hey Clark, what's up? Clark in the chat, thanks for jumping in, man. It's been a minute. Are you still good for the watch party or what? You gotta tell us here live right now. Infinity's coming, so he said you better bring some cash. Yes, that is the Clark. You can't tell by that goofy ass face? No, not this Saturday, Clark. Next Saturday, October 4th. We discussed this at Ray's house. You seem kind of unsure, so this Saturday is this card in Perth. Next, yes, me and Bob Dole. Okay, Bob Dole is coming. That was gonna be my next one. LOL, I don't zoom in on dudes. You don't have to. His big old face is in that shit. Okay, cool. So confirmed here live, we have Clark for the Watch Party podcast, as well as Bob Dole, who was on with us last time. And you'll zoom in on something. Oh, Jesus, here we go. And this is what you can expect from Infinity and Clark on Saturday, October 4th for the Watch Party podcast. You zoom in on cash. They're always trying to bet each other because what I think Clark beat Infinity for their first bet that they made the one time that Infinity was here, right? If I remember correctly. He's a hater. And they're always going at it on the chat too when Infinity's not here and Clark is. It's entertaining. It's all in good fun. But yeah, Watch Party podcast for UFC 320. Don't miss that for sure. Let's move on to that co-main event. I love to show you your own money in my oh shit. He took my damn money after driving all the way down there. Oh yeah, that's right. All right, let's get to this co-main event. Jimmy Crute versus Ivan or Ivan, I'm not sure, Urslan in the men's light heavyweight division. You're printing some money. Jimmy Crute again with the hair. I'm just gonna keep laughing at this, the back and forth in the chat. Jimmy Crute, always fun to watch for sure. 29 years old, 13-4 overall, 5-4 in the UFC. He's 5-2 by KO TKO as well as by sub, 3-0 by decision. He's coming off a win. Urslan's on a 2-fight losing streak, 14-5 overall, 0-2 in the UFC. So he's looking to get his first win in the UFC. They're just going at it. But yeah, Urslan's trying to get his first win in the UFC and break that 2-fight losing streak. He's 10-1 by KO TKO, so that's something to watch there. Be double digits in that column is always good. 3-3 by decision, 1-1 by sub. So yeah, Jimmy Crute is a tough opponent though, and I could see him getting the TKO win here over Urslan, but you never know. So Jimmy Crute also, you know, kind of fights wild, so you never know what you're gonna get out of him, but he's a fun one to watch, and he's definitely got what it takes to to get the win. Let's take a look at, he's coming off a win over Marcin Prachnio by submission in the first round. And then he fought that dumbass Bellato as well. But he lost to Alonzo Menefield. Oh, no, he didn't beat him. He went to the draw against Bellato. That's right. Yeah, he's before this last win, he had 2 draws and then 3 losses, which is crazy. So let's see if he can put together a couple wins and go on a win streak against Ivan Erslan, who's 0-2 in his UFC career, looking to get that first UFC win. And now they're talking about how much money. He came out of KSW where he was 4-3. He's now 0-2 in the UFC. His last win was in 2024 where he got a performance of the night bonus in KSW for a first round 54-second TKO win. He needs to try to, channel that to get back into that win column. He lost to Navajo Sterling, who's fighting on this card as well, and he lost to Ian Kutalaba. So we'll see what he has for Jimmy Crute. I think Jimmy Crute's a bit overwhelming for a guy like this, and I'm not sure why they made this matchup. It's kind of a weird one, but they needed, probably because Justin Taffa? No, I'm not sure who Justin Taffa was supposed to be fighting, but either way, Jimmy Crute, I think, is going to get the win here in this one for the co-main event in the men's light heavyweight division. And we'll stay in that light heavyweight division for the main event, where we got Carlos Ulberg versus Dominic Reyes. Ulberg is 12-1 overall, 8-1 in the UFC, 7-1 by KO TKO, 1-0 by sub, and 4-0 by decision. He's on an 8-fight win streak, which is impressive because he lost his first fight in the UFC and then has won every single one since then. Dominic Reyes is on a 3-fight win streak as well. He's been on a roll and been looking good lately after he finally broke that crazy losing streak that he had going. I mean, it wasn't crazy long, but it just sucked to see him lose that much after losing to John Jones in that title fight where a lot of people thought that he won. He's 10-3 by KO TKO, 2-0 by sub, and 3-1 by decision, 9-4 in the UFC. So, but Carlos Ulberg, I'm not sure that he's at the level of Dominic Reyes, even though he's on this 8-fight win streak and he's looked damn good. It's just, I've seen some holes in his game, and I just don't know. I just don't know if he has what it takes to beat somebody like Dominic Reyes. He beat Jan Blachowicz, he beat Volkan Ozdemir, he beat Alonzo Menefield, Dawu Zhang, Ihor Pretoria, Nikolai Nikarma. I don't know how the fuck to say that name. Okay, so his first 3 opponents weren't anything crazy, but then he started. What the fuck? What is going on in the chat? I was letting the show play out. I haven't printed 50s yet. Oh man. It's gonna be funny on next Saturday. So make sure you join in for that one. But yeah, his last loss was to Kennedy and Zechiku back in 2021. He still got a fight of the night bonus for that one. It was a second round TKO loss for him, but he's on this 8-fight win streak since then. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm sorry, not 8, 5. Did I say 8? The fuck? Yeah, 5-fight win streak. Sorry. So I got all mixed up right there. But he also had a performance of the night bonus win against Ihor Pretoria for a first round TKO. And then his last fight was a submission against Dawu Zhang in the 3rd round. So yeah, I mean, with all that being said, Dominic Reyes, as we know, damn near, if not really, did beat John Jones. A lot of people felt like he got robbed. Maybe me too. I'm not sure. I'd like to go back and watch that fight one of these days because I do remember it being a good fight. But he's on a 3-fight win streak with wins over Nikita Krylov, Anthony Smith, and Dustin Jacoby. All TKO wins, all but one in the first round, which was the Anthony Smith one, was in the 2nd round. Yeah, you're missing out this week, Clark. You loser. I'm just kidding. I know you got shit to do, but there wasn't a lot of courses open either. So we're playing at Arizona National again. So hopefully it's in decent shape. I know there's a lot of overseeding going on right now, but I'm just happy to be able to get out there and play. A second, let's see about the extra kick. Oh shit. Oh, AZ scored. Yeah, I misread that. Yeah, I thought I looked up and saw somebody score, but I wasn't paying attention. Oh shit, we got a tied game. Dang. All right, so yeah, so with Dominic Reyes, I mean, I just don't know if Olberg has what it takes. He fights a good fight, but sometimes his fight IQ is not the best. He gets himself into some situations, and like I said, Dominic Reyes has looked damn good since he was on that losing streak. He lost, including the John Jones fight, he lost 4 in a row, but it just seemed like he lost everything when he lost that John Jones fight because it was so close. And even though it was a unanimous decision, a lot of people thought he won that fight. And so he came back and lost to Jan Blachowicz, Yuri Prohaska, and Ryan Spann, which I feel like he should have been able to beat Jan and Spann, but Yuri's a tough one. That was a fight of the night though, so you know, it's not like he did horribly. He put up a good fight. It's just he did lose. So finally breaking that losing streak, he gets on a 3-fight win streak. He's been looking damn good lately. First round finish in his last fight, all TKO wins, and on a 3-fight win streak. So I'm kind of thinking we're gonna see Dominic Reyes get this. Seattle idiots for kicking so much field goals. Yeah, especially when you missed that last one. That was probably the most important one. Well, I guess that would have kept them up ahead. So that sucks. But it looks like Arizona's kicker just flubbed one too. Anyway, yeah, so I'm thinking Reyes on this one. Hopefully it's a good, fun fight though for your main event for UFC Perth. You also got Olberg being from that area. Might hype him up a bit, and he definitely wants to keep that 5-fight win streak going. So we'll see who comes out victorious. Should be a fun one. That's UFC Perth. Let's get to our fight wheel predictions. I guess I should check and see what I did on the last one. It's been 2 weeks, but I'm not sure if I ever checked to see how the fight wheel predictions did. So let's see. Luna got the win against Kwang Lee. That was Santiago Luna. That was a first round TKO win for him. Diego Lopez got the win against Jean Silva. That was a second round TKO win for him. Rafa Garcia got the win. So that's 3-0 for the fight wheel prediction so far. That was a third round TKO win. Diego Ferreira versus Alexander Hernandez. No, that one's a miss because Hernandez got the win by TKO on that one. David Martinez gets a win over Rob Font, so that one's correct. And then Kelvin Gastelum beats Dustin Stoltzfus. So the fight wheel predictions were on 2 weeks ago. Only one miss out of 6, so 5-1 for the fight wheel predictions. That's pretty goddamn good. So we'll see if the fight wheel predicts just as good this week, if not better. Let's get to these predictions. I gotta clear that out. There we go. And then we can get to spinning the wheel for UFC Perth. Here's your first fight wheel prediction for UFC Perth. We got 6 fights on the main card, and the first prediction will be Jake Matthews to beat Neil Magny. And like I was saying before, Neil Magny always wins in fights like this, so we'll see if Matthews can actually pull this off. So there's your first prediction for the fight wheel. Let me get rid of Neil Magny's name as well, and we'll go to fight prediction number 2. What's going on? I'll spin you wheels.
Hey, no Diddy, man. No Diddy.
What the fuck is happening? All right, so oh shit. Main event pick Dominic Reyes, kind of like I said, versus Carlos Olberg, and the fight wheel predicts Dominic Reyes to win. So we'll see how correct that is and how correct I am for that main event. 2 fights down, 4 more to go. Let's see what the fight wheel predicts. Clark wants your clubs. No, I think Clark has better clubs than me. Oh, wait. I forgot about the previous conversation. Never mind. No comment. Charlie Campbell for the first fight of the night, beating Tom Nolan is the prediction for that one. So there's your third prediction of the night from the fight wheel for UFC Perth. Halfway through, let's go. Not that club. And we got Ramon Tavares beating Jack Jenkins. Tavares beating Jack Jenkins. I'm not sure that that's going to be how that one goes down, but we will see. 2 fights left, co-main event, and then Tafa versus Sutherland. Oh my God, Clark. Jimmy Crute in beating Ivan Erslan, which I figure is probably going to be how that goes in the co-main event. Let's spell that correctly. There we go. All right, so last prediction for the fight wheel. Justin Tafa versus Louis Sutherland. Louis Sutherland making his debut. And the fight wheel predicts that Justin Tafa will not give him his first win. Justin Tafa to get the win against Louis Sutherland. I could definitely see that happening. So those are your fight wheel predictions for UFC Perth. And we have Jake Matthews beating Neil Magny. Dominic Reyes beating Carlos Oberg in the main event. The first fight of the night will be Charlie Campbell versus Tom Nolan. The fight wheel predicts Charlie Campbell winning. Let's see, Ramon Tavares versus Jack Jenkins. Tavares gets the win according to the fight wheel. And then we got co-main event, Jimmy Crute beating Ivan Erslan, and then Justin Tafa to beat Louis Sutherland in the men's heavyweight division. Those are your fight wheel predictions. Yeah, I mean, Tafa's, I don't know. It's a back and forth. You never know what Tafa's going to do. So we'll see how that one goes. But those are your fight wheel predictions for UFC Perth. And that about does it for that. So, UFC Perth happening this weekend. 7 o'clock, main card start. Yeah, I just looked up and saw that Seattle gets the field goal. But yeah, UFC Perth happening this Saturday. Make sure you check that out. Dana White's Contender Series will be coming up again on Tuesday for week 8. Make sure you watch that as well. But on Sunday, I will be recapping what happens at UFC Perth, as well as previewing Dana White's Contender Series. And we'll talk about any other news or rumors or anything like that that happens between now and then. So come back on Sunday for the recap of everything. Infinity will be here on October 4th for the Watch Party podcast. We're just over a week away from that. Clark will be here as well with Bob Dole. So that should be a fun one. And we'll be watching UFC 320. So don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, comment on this if you're watching it later. If you come back and watch anything else, or just come back and, hit a comment. It all helps the algorithm and gets my video out there a little more. So I appreciate all the support. If you didn't like the video yet, make sure you do that before you go. That's it for me. Enjoy the fights. I'm out of here. Take it easy. Peace.